Uh-huh. Yeah, and we get this one, a nice course change. You know, we don't need no stinking flight plan. I'm as free as a bird now. In this bird you cannot change. There's a thick one right there, see that? Of course there's that one we saw, and there are more up there. There's another one out there right over that chimney. Yeah, so and zillions of times. But this is a good example that shows you that wide one. You know, it's not dramatic, but look at exactly how it just fills right into it perfectly. It's all at the same altitude, like as if by magic. And remember, if these were real cirrus clouds, they could be anywhere from, you know, 25,000 to 60,000, but they're not. They're always exactly at cruise altitude, precisely. Then there's these perfectly natural, persisting contrails, just merge perfectly into it, adding and growing. And also note the stationary aspect, the frozen and lucite. There's movement, but you had to stand there for quite some time to see it. And since it is our daily gruel, which is important, we might as well time-lapse it for a minute. Yeah. On time-lapse it'll be a minute, it'll probably be like 30 minutes or so in real time. And since it's a very low contrast, why don't we reverse it, you know, kind of adds to the wonder. Okay, that's good for now. Just we're getting some gooey lower clouds in there, about a couple thousand feet. But I do want to show you this one. This was a very interesting one. It would happen while I was taping. See that monster? That one actually goes from basically west-southwest to east-northeast. There are no major airports. From where he came, a straight line. It was a huge chemtrail, and he's flying straight out toward the Atlantic. So the only airport that lines up with a straight line with him would be like Oklahoma City. I don't think there are non-stop flights from Oklahoma City to the United Kingdom. So, and it's also a massive one. And the other thing that's very interesting and important is that it was the straight line that he flew. It's exactly on the path of the prevailing wind. In other right, it's just continuously moving along straight. And this is something that they do fairly often, but it's such an unusual flight path, such a long chemtrail, blooming heavily, and that it's right in the line of the prevailing wind, I think is important and interesting. Voila! One right there, and then one right next to it, and you can actually see that they both cut the jet cirrus with their fuselage, that dark line. Pretty faint. Yeah, that guy's really pumping it out. So let's time-lapse. Yeah, and that guy that went that way, there's another one next to him, so they're coming out in teams now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right there, yeah, you can see the cut line in the jet cirrus. That shows it's all right where they want it to be. And another one's going in right in there. But I want to get time-lapse going. Alright, so just take a look at the other, how they kind of all came together over here. And again, notice it's like focused on being in the pre-existing white slime. So that's more efficient to add to it, then it probably sticks together better aggregates water more effectively into the cloud together than apart. And that's why that's a regular and heavily dependable aspect of their game. The shred he was hanging next to is still right there. I get, oh yeah, into that. Spreading, will spread, has spread, gooing up the sky. Yeah, that's pretty gross. That's serious stuff. Let's watch that one. Alright, I think that gives us a nice sampling of a typical day. This sort of thing has happened to the past 300 days, like 275 days of the past 300 like this. So this is your typical phenomenon. Your white slime might do that just slightly above this crud. Yeah, I think we'll time-lapse a little of this, because this featureless, strangely flattened stuff has just merged with that mackerel-like material. The mackerel has now been replaced, or with itself, but now in this form. Okay, I think that's enough for now. It may be boring for sure, but on the other hand, it's interesting to see what just might kill you or your kids or the planet, and then your kids. This is the stuff that can come in and last for, well, 24 hours straight. Gee, sometimes even 48 hours straight. You know what? It can make it to 96 hours straight of this, and in fact, I have numerous tapes, because it's happened many times, where it's lasted 120 to 150 straight hours of this. There isn't going to be any rain out of this stuff, so maybe hours from now there might be enough, for 10 minutes of a light rain if we're lucky. We're not even having mizzle right now. Also, through the gaps, I haven't been able, it's a choice. I'm going to time-lapse or I'm going to film. Been numerous heavy-duty chemtrails up there suppressing, making sure the rain doesn't happen. Because they don't want this downward suction to pull their junk out of the sky. These lower altitude clouds, as well as the upper altitude clouds, now serve them well. And as if to underscore my point, check it, yeah, see? And no socks on a line, it's symmetrical on both sides. The new nozzle, or the one that started getting retrofitted in last summer. So, and what does it show you? Well, that stuff's at 30,000, just, a notch under maybe. And then this stuff is, slightly lower. It's all a Megaslime. See, that's why I came from Megaslime. Megaslime makes mostly high altitude, jet cruise altitude white slime, but because it's oblate, we've seen many times, that oblateness, or those clouds that are in the hull, they flatten out as they travel and then become these huge sheets just a little bit lower down. So you can see they're not much below. That white is the white slime layer, and these are slightly below it. So, Megaslime, Chemtrails, the new nozzle. See, if it were natural, they'd all be doing socks on a line. They would not, have changed to have now some socks on a line and others that are symmetrical, because the turbofan engine design's identical. Alright, again, remember, when you have it on time-lapse, I had it on my faster one. It's like 1 frame every 3 seconds. Well, normally these cameras run, I guess, 1 frame every 26 frames a second. So you're going to see movement. But when you don't have it on time-lapse and you're looking at this, I don't know which way it's moving. There is no movement. It's one giant managed cloud blanket, as always. The frozen in Lucite look. Nothing advances. Nothing recedes. Nothing finds resistance. Nothing finds a lack of resistance and accelerates. It's one virtually, there's no interaction between the parts. It's all one giant managed blanket. Constantly. Again, there's only one explanation for that, and that's climate control, weather control. The giant HARP facilities making these giant vortexes off under Alaska and the Pacific, and off Greenland, between Greenland and Canada, and over Canada or Northeast United States. And then all the other emitters throughout the country, and probably the next rad system, which, like giant hands, constantly just guide everything along perfectly. That's why they spray that conductive metallic magnetic-like powder, along with the other stuff, aluminum oxide, which will conduct. And this is the result. God,